The Vikings established a semi-independent dominion across various regions of France and launched invasions into England from 865 AD onwards, resulting in profound alterations to the political landscape of the time. By the early 11th century, Danish monarchs had ascended to the throne of England, signifying a major geopolitical shift. During the 13th and 14th centuries, epic tales regarding illustrious Viking figures such as Ragnar Lodbrok began to surface, intricately weaving together historical events and myth. These narratives not only entertained but also profoundly shaped contemporary understandings of Viking culture and notions of heroism. The sons of Ragnar earned their own renown as formidable Viking leaders, frequently eclipsing their father's legacy in the process. Historical documentation confirms their actions, although these accounts sometimes clash with the epic narratives that celebrate their lineage. Historians posit that the figure of Ragnar may represent a composite of various Viking leaders, including Regan Harus and Iod Br, known for their notable exploits. This amalgamation of figures invites critical examination of the authenticity and accuracy of Ragnar's portrayal in historical records. Frequently, the lineage of rulers is traced back to legendary figures in a bid to gain legitimacy, a practice evident in the examples of Spartan kings and Romulus. Such narratives serve to consolidate power and authority throughout history, establishing a link between contemporary rulers and their prestigious predecessors. In the 10th century, Viking kings who invaded England sought to forge connections with Ragnar's illustrious legacy to bolster their legitimacy. This strategy created a legendary lineage that unified disparate Viking leaders under a singular and powerful narrative. Rurik encountered significant economic hurdles while developing the settlements he had captured, leading him to explore alternative sources of income to support his initiatives. Taxation of local tribes emerged as a vital means of ensuring the financial stability necessary for the maintenance and enhancement of these settlements. Following Rurik's reign, Oleg successfully captured Kiev, thereby solidifying the Viking presence in Slavic territories and establishing it as a crucial base for future expeditions. This landmark event played a pivotal role in shaping the foundations of what would eventually become the Russian state. Oleg's strategic maneuvers against the Byzantine Empire exemplified his ambition to expand trade routes and assert influence. His effective blockade ultimately led to profitable agreements that not only fortified his rule but also established enduring relations with neighboring powers. The early Viking explorations were significantly influenced by Irish monks, who enlightened them regarding various islands, including the Faroe Islands, that were suitable for settlement. This newfound knowledge spurred further exploration endeavors across the Atlantic. In an effort to attract settlers, Eric the Red deliberately named Greenland, despite its inhospitable conditions. His exaggerated tales of verdant landscapes served to entice others, encouraging them to join him in establishing a new settlement. Leif Erikson embarked on expeditions that resulted in the first European encounters with Native American peoples, although these initial interactions were often marked by hostility. This period represented a significant milestone in the Viking exploration of North America. The Vikings' interest in Finland gradually diminished following unsuccessful attempts at settlement, which signaled a shift in their exploration strategies. Consequently, their focus transitioned to North America and other promising regions. Initially, Viking explorations in North America faced skepticism among historians until the discovery of archaeological evidence in Newfoundland in 1960. This revelation confirmed Viking presence on the continent and reshaped our understanding of early transatlantic exploration. Although Christopher Columbus is widely credited with discovering America, the Vikings had already accomplished this feat 5 centuries earlier, underscoring the significance of their maritime ventures. The accomplishments of the Vikings reveal advanced navigation skills that were remarkable for their era. Amidst the turmoil of a king's illness, Iona, the king's son-in-law, seized the opportunity to align with Canute, perceiving a shift in the balance of power. This strategic maneuver aimed to secure his position during a time of uncertainty and chaos. In spite of initial setbacks, Edmund endeavored to consolidate forces against Canute, which ultimately culminated in a decisive battle near Assam village. This confrontation exemplified the fierce resistance and fluctuating allegiances among the noble class during this tumultuous period. The treachery of Edric Trona significantly influenced the outcome of the war, debilitating the morale and strength of Edmund's forces. This betrayal ultimately paved the way for Canute's victory in the ongoing conflict. In a bid to consolidate his power, Canute executed nobles he deemed untrustworthy, reflecting his acute awareness of the precariousness of his position after previously losing his throne. This ruthless decision was intended to eradicate any potential threats to his authority. By strategically marrying Duke Richard's sister, Canute secured a formidable ally, which played a critical role in stabilizing his reign. This alliance effectively mitigated claims to the throne from rival factions. Canute's leadership marked a period of restored prosperity in England following Viking incursions, transforming him from a landless king into the ruler of an extensive empire. His efforts were directed towards ensuring the safety and security of his subjects. The Vikings heavily relied on trade, engaging in the exchange of goods within local contexts as well as with distant communities. Barter systems were prevalent, particularly for goods that could not be produced locally. Slavery played an indispensable role in Viking society, where slaves served as laborers for arduous tasks. A significant portion of these slaves were prisoners of war, and their forced labor significantly contributed to the wealth and prosperity of the Viking culture. The Viking Age was marked by impactful interactions between pagan Scandinavians and Christian societies. These exchanges fostered cultural transformations that ultimately influenced the eventual Christianization of the Viking people. Initially, the Vikings strategically targeted unprotected Christian structures for plunder, as these sites lacked military defenses. This presented an attractive opportunity for Viking leaders seeking wealth and resources. Harald Clu's ascent to power in Denmark exemplifies the interplay between political ambition and religious conversion. His embrace of Christianity catalyzed an increase in missionary efforts and facilitated the spread of Christianity throughout the region. Olaf, recognized as the first Christian king of Norway, resorted to force to disseminate Christianity, resulting in significant conflicts with pagan Norwegians. His aggressive tactics starkly contrasted with the more peaceful methods later adopted by Olaf of Sweden. The ramifications of missionary endeavors and cultural exchanges played a crucial role in the dissemination of Christianity among Viking communities. These interactions facilitated the gradual abandonment of pagan rituals over time. In the television series, Ragnar is depicted as an ordinary farmer, which starkly contrasts with historical accounts portraying him as a noble king. This artistic decision enhances viewer relatability while straying from the historical truth. The series dramatizes notable Viking occurrences, such as the Siege of Paris, intermingling historical facts with fictional embellishments. Such portrayals raise critical questions concerning the fidelity of Viking history and its representation in contemporary media. Rollo's portrayal in the Siege of Paris is inaccurately presented, as he did not participate in this confrontation alongside Ragnar but rather distinguished himself in a different siege occurring years later. This confusion illustrates the blending of historical figures within the narrative of the series. The video clarifies that Ragnar's infamous strategy to capture Paris was actually attributed to another Viking leader, Haston, further highlighting the historical inaccuracies prevalent within the series' narrative. Additionally, it is noted that the sons of Ragnar were not driven by revenge for their father's demise, but were rather motivated by the desire to settle and exploit the fertile lands of England, as substantiated by historical records. Floki is inaccurately portrayed as the discoverer of Iceland, whereas the true discoverer was Gardar, who stumbled upon the land amidst a storm. Such misinformation distorts the audience's comprehension of Viking exploration. The series also misrepresents Yuba's involvement in the settlement of Greenland, attributing its discovery to Gummo Ulson, who arrived a century after Yuba's death. Such alterations significantly disrupt the chronology of Viking exploration. Finally, Kateg, a city portrayed as central to the Viking Civil War within the series, never existed in reality. This fictional element contributes to a misleading representation of Viking conflicts and settlement patterns.